and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Liz. Today I'm going to be trying a very soft grunge slash Beabadoobee inspired makeup look. So let's get into the video. Okay, so one of the things that Beabadoobee emphasizes is just making the makeup look basically just like your skin, except maybe a little bit more enhanced. And she does emphasize the importance of having a good moisturizer and just lightweight products in general. So I will be putting on a little bit of sunscreen just for some skin protection, but otherwise my skincare is already complete. Okay, after the skincare is done and it's been about 15 minutes to let the sunscreen sink in, the next step is going to be opting for a lightweight foundation. I'm going to be using my tried and true Maybelline Super Stay 24 Hour Skin Tint. Her base is definitely more like a skin finish, and so I'll be combining these two. I'm just going to take my beauty blender here and I'm just going to tap that out. And to be honest, I'm not going to put on a second layer because I feel like once I do that, it's gonna start looking way too cakey. Her skin is literally so flawless and gorgeous that I want mine to look as natural as possible. I feel like with her, she has more of a reddish tone blush. When I see photos of her, I feel like it's more like of a natural inner glow type of blush. So I'm going to be using my palette here from Revolution. It's their eyeshadow palette. They have more of like these reddish tone ones here, like this shade Tweet, and I just think that it will provide the most natural, like sun-kissed glow. I think is gonna look really good. So I'm gonna take my blush brush here, and what I also like to do is just gently tap off the excess onto my hand here, just because I don't want any excess powder to like become way too saturated on my face. Let's see. Okay, after assessing some of her photos, I think she kind of places the blush more underneath her eye here on the tip of her nose and kind of up along the outer corners of her cheekbones, and less so like right on the apples of her cheek. I'm just going to kind of bring it up a little bit, focus it right underneath my under eyes, and then on her nose here. The next step is going to be bronzer to give that very healthy, flushed, natural look. I got this new palette from Wet n Wild, and I don't know if it's gonna work on me, but let's just try it. A lot of bronzers look very red on me, and so I'm really hoping this one doesn't. Very cute. I do feel like she has a natural chiseled kind of like more defined face, and so I'm just gonna take my contour brush here and I'm just gonna follow the natural contours of my face. It's giving nothing. Oh, okay, I see it. She has like a very snatched jawline. I'm not gonna freaking play around with the bronzer here. I need to look very snatched like Beabadoobee. Just kind of working it upwards and then dragging it down to my jawline here. And I'm also gonna go around my forehead. Even though my bangs are gonna be covering my forehead up, I still like to go around my forehead in case the wind blows my bangs. And then imagine you have a full beat on the lower half of your face and the wind blows your hair up, and then imagine you don't have any makeup here and it just looks really weird. That's like my worst nightmares. Even when I'm like, okay, my bangs are gonna be covering my forehead makeup, I still put makeup on my forehead because I'm scared of the wind. The wind is my op. Okay, I feel pretty chiseled here. I did forget to put on concealer. She has a lot of dimension on her face, a lot of like high points and then shadows, and my face is very flat, so I want to kind of mimic that by just highlighting the high points of my face, so under my eyes, the center of my forehead. I don't really know if I have any other high points. Maybe that's all the high points I have, so let's just quickly blend this in. That looks, in my opinion, a lot better, just because I feel like my face was lacking a lot of dimension there. She just has the most beautiful face. I need to try to replicate it so that I can look like her and be like her. And I need to start releasing music like her because I just want to copy her. Okay, I think that actually looks better. Okay, I'm glad I did that. before the powder. We've gotten most of the base done. The next step is going to be setting it and then putting on the freckles, because I feel like if I put the freckles on first, the powder might swipe them away. I'm going to be very frugal. I'm going to be applying my powder very lightly just because I don't want my face to look very cakey. It's really important to use less powder when you can, just because sometimes powder can make your face look a little bit more cakey. And then instead of using my little puff here, normally I use this, and this really creates that blurring, no pore look, and I think I don't really want that right now, so I'll be using just this kind of not very dense brush, and I'll just sweep over my face with the product. And then I just like to twirl my brush, mainly go over the areas where I know I get more greasy. Again, I just don't want to overdo this step. The next step, I'm going to be contouring my nose. I noticed that she has a very like button nose look, and I think that my nose is a little bit more flat. I'm going to be taking this cute little palette I got off of Yes Style. It is the brand Florette, and I'm going to use this slightly cool tone brown shade here. I'm going to use this fluffy little blending brush, and I'm going to go under my nose here. Basically, I'm just going to try to create a very upturned button nose, and I'm going to drag the product across the bridge of my nose to make it look like it's more upturned. And then I'm just going to also slim down my nose by contouring it. I love to bring my nose contour up into my eyebrows just to help it look very seamless. For the faux freckles, I saw someone else doing this, but basically they used a bobby pin and then they just dipped it in like a dark brown shade and then just tapped it all over their face. I have acquired a bobby pin, and I'm going to use the same palette I was using here before. I'm going to use this dark brown shade right here. Just going to dip it in here, and then we're just gonna press everywhere. And her freckles are kind of like concentrated, so they're like here. I think the messier you make your freckles, the more realistic it looks. That looks cute. Her freckles are concentrated on the upper part of her nose, so I'm gonna try to make sure I replicate that. And she almost has it in a way that's like contouring her nose. They're almost like under her eye, like right up under her eye. And then my plan is to basically smudge them out so that they're not fully developed, because I feel like freckles almost look like they're blended into the skin. But I think the way to make the freckles look more convincing is just having a few in other areas of the face, not just on the nose. I think that's a good amount. I'm just gonna take my little puff pad here and just gently smudge, like almost slightly drag the puff across my skin to really just try to make them look very natural. I'm just slightly dragging, pressing them in, almost tapping off any loose extra powder. I think that looks cute. I don't know. I think that looks pretty cute. I think if you got up close, you'd be able to tell, but on camera, they look good. Okay, so the next step is going to be the brows. I noticed her brows are very natural, very fluffy, and so I think I'm just going to take a light brow pencil and just run it through my brows and then use some gel to comb them up. Her eyebrows are more arched, so I'm going to slightly arch my eyebrows a little bit more than normal, but I'm going to be careful not to fill them in too much, just because I don't want them to look too unnatural and filled in. My gel is leaking a little bit at the bottom. I'm not quite sure why. And I'm going to take this spoolie brush here, and I'm just going to slightly brush them up for a more tomboy, I think, just like natural. I have really long eyebrows, so this almost looks a little bit weird. And my eyebrows grow straight, they just grow downward, and so this almost doesn't really work for me, but I'm still gonna try it. This next step is going to be all about the eye look, and this is probably the most important part because I feel like this is what is very distinguishing about this soft grunge kind of Beabadoobee makeup look. So I'm gonna go ahead and just curl my eyelashes just to get started. Okay, now that the eyelashes are curled, I'm going to be using this really old palette from LA. I forget what it's called. First, I'm gonna go in with this dark gray shade right here, and I'm just gonna use that all over my eyelid. So this is a pretty good base shade. I feel like she doesn't have much eyeshadow on from what I can tell. And I think mainly it's going to be using a black eyeliner and then smudging it out. I will be using this one from Wet n Wild. First, I'm going to start off by doing my waterline, and I'm just going to start off with that. I heard that she doesn't take off her eye makeup and that's how it kind of marinates, so I think that's kind of funny. So personally, I feel like my eyes do not look good with eyeliner underneath, but I'm still gonna try it because I'm hopeful, and I'm gonna hope that Beabadoobee comes through with this because I usually avoid going on my bottom waterline, but let's just hope. I feel like it just makes my eyes look smaller. It looks very uncanny. And then I'm going to slightly wing this out here. Again, not being too precise because I want to smudge this later on. She doesn't do too much of a wing, it doesn't look like, so I'm not going to make mine too long. Okay, this is how it's looking. I look freaking crazy right now. I'm going to take this little brush here and I'm just going to smudge it all out. Honestly, with my eyes, I literally just wing it. I'm just like, okay, this needs to look not like this, and so let's try to fix it. I'm almost thinking, what if I just went in with like black eyeshadow? Let's just try it. And then I'm gonna use the black shade, and I'm just gonna go over it slightly and also below. I think this is looking like we're making progress. Let me go over it again with my gel eyeliner here. So before I put on false lashes, I'm just going to put on a quick swipe of mascara. I think I have the perfect wispy lashes for this look. I have these lashes from, I think I got them from Yes Style, I don't remember. But I got these and they're little clusters, so I think it'll be perfect to add in to make them look like actual lash extensions. So let's go put them on. I feel like these lashes are perfect. They're like very wispy and I think they look really similar to hers. And I feel like hers have a very natural flush. Like her whole entire look is very natural, very flushed, very feminine vibes. So I think I'm gonna go for, this might sound odd, but I think I'm gonna do like a red lip, but very subtle. I just feel like she has a kind of natural flush and I kind of want to mimic that with what I did with the blush. I don't want my lips to be too dark. Hers are a very nice, like light colored. I almost wonder, I'm gonna put some light foundation on my lips and I'm gonna go around. It's okay, my lips aren't gonna dry out because I do have chapstick on, but I think adding a nice lighter base will help the red pop out a little bit more. I'm just gonna take my finger here and blur out the edges for a very natural flushed look. I feel like taking it around the edges almost like overlines your lips, but it doesn't do it in a harsh line way. And I think the last step that I'm going to do is adding highlighter because she has such a cute button nose and every freaking part of her face is just highlighted using this same little cute palette. I'm going to take this shimmery color right here and I'm just gonna go anywhere that I think needs highlighted. I'm gonna go right on my nose here. Okay, you guys, that is the end of my video. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching my attempt to do Queen Beabadoobee's makeup. I hope that you guys really enjoyed it. If you aren't following me, please subscribe down below, leave a comment, and like. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!